welcome back to another edition of the Double Switch podcast. Johnny and I are back to discuss the latest win streak we have. I think we're going on 6 games now. Just took 4 out of 4 against the AAA Nationals, headlined by their ace Patrick Corbin, who has a 7 ERA this year. Johnny, how good should we really feel about just sweeping that dreadful Nats team? I kind of think that you could throw out our high school baseball team and we could have swept them. That team's terrible, but how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, the Seneca boys team could have given them a fight. The quadruple A Nationals. No, they're a mess. I think they're gonna go down as like the worst team in like history. If you look at like their run differential right now, that team is like abysmal. Like there's been bad, but this is horrible. So I wouldn't feel too good, but we did take care of business, and like we really took care of business. We crushed them, like we should.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, 6 games now. I believe this is our second 6-game win streak. I think we've had 3 of 5 or longer, so team's kind of streaky. We're getting used to it. Kind of the highs and lows of the season. We're definitely on a high right now. I think the bigger takeaway from this 6-game win streak, throw the 4-game series against the Nats out the door. I think that win we pulled off in Atlanta last Wednesday, that's probably the biggest story. We'll start off with that real quick. Yeah, we started the win streak with that, and we just took another game against the Marlins team that's given us issues in the past. They're not always the best team, but we've just had issues beating them. Sure, we had Zach Wheeler out there. You know, he gives us his best chance every day. But, you know, we've kind of been taking care of business against them recently, and it's a welcome sight. But, yeah, let's start with that Braves game last Wednesday. Coming off a loss down in Atlanta. You know, that's scary. That can get out of hand quickly. We could have easily left that Atlanta series with a sweep, a 2-game sweep. Still stinks, but it didn't happen. Nick Castellanos came up with the big go-ahead home run late in the game, and I just think it feels different. Everything that this team does feels a little different than the past. It's something I can't really put my finger on. It's just a feeling that I get watching this team. I've seen a lot of Phillies baseball. I've seen a lot of hope these past couple years. You know, last August led the division. 2 years ago, I thought we had it in the bag when we went into September. There's always been a lot of signs of hope, and we've been let down. This team has a lot of fight, and I think we showed it last Wednesday. It's different. It's really different right now, and it's wonderful to see.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very good point. I think the big difference I've seen, like me watching games, I don't have that feeling of doubt just throughout the whole game. Like some of these past years, like the 2015 to like 2017 range, I'd watch a game and like just know that they're going to blow any lead. If they got up in the beginning of the game, I knew they would end up blowing it. But it speaks. It really shows how good like some of this personnel we have is. I mean,
yeah,
with these guys like Nick Castellanos and JT Realmuto turning it around as well is comforting.
Yeah, I know before this episode we said that we weren't going to have anything to talk about because, the Nats are just terrible. But I can just feel things coming up in my head right now that we can talk about. So let's start with this. Trade deadline 1 week ago. Let's talk about what we've seen out of these 4 acquisitions. I believe last time we spoke, Didi was still on the team. Didi, as we know, is gone, designated for assignment. It's something that we brought up earlier. When the Mets got rid of Cano, we compared our situation to theirs. Mets were doing what they had to do. They bit the bullet and paid the salary. And now we can see our GM doing that. What's your biggest takeaway from us letting Didi go and giving Stott that job?
I think it shows that we're serious about winning. Dave Dombrowski, he's not going to make any decisions with emotion. He's going to make the rational choices. And he's going to put the best player at the position. There's no more Yankee buddy with Joe Girardi and Didi. I think that kind of kept Didi in town and starting the whole Joe Girardi connection. But I think that shows that this front office is willing to do whatever it takes to get the best team out there.
Did you think Dombrowski had the guts to do that? Did you see that coming?
I think based off of the Odubel and the Uris Familia ones, I think that kind of signaled that Didi was next. We actually talked about it in the podcast, or we finished the last episode talking about it. I asked you if Didi would he get cut, and you said you thought he would.
Yeah. Dombrowski took the three biggest holes on the roster. I consider them the three biggest holes. Replace them. Shows guts. And in leaders, more so today than ever, I mean, I think decisiveness is the most important thing in a general manager and president of baseball operations. You look at some of these teams that, we don't want to be. The Angels, the Rockies, all these teams, I mean, what do they have in common? They don't really know what they want to do. Angels don't know what they want to, go all out on free agents with Trout. The Rockies don't have any idea if they're rebuilding or retooling or what they're doing. It's a really, really tough thing to be a fan of, a team with management that's indecisive. Dombrowski is not that. If he sees something, if he sees a problem, he's going to fix it. And it doesn't matter how emotionally invested he is in somebody. It doesn't really matter how much they cost. A baseball team, it's the product on the field that's the most important thing. Like you said, Familia, great clubhouse presence. Didi, great clubhouse presence. But these guys are dead weight at the end of the day. I mean, they're not providing much. And I feel a lot better with that. With Edmundo Sosa on the roster, watching that defense this weekend. I don't know if you had a chance to see that defense that he was.
I did.
He is as advertised. I hadn't seen a lot of him. He's insane. One of the best defenders I've seen. I mean, he's all over the place, and I feel so good when it's hit to him.
Yeah, no. I also have watched a lot of Cardinals, so Sosa's kind of foreign to me, but whew, boy, is he like a vacuum. He is really good.
Yeah, he's insane. I'm pretty sure he's going to catch anything his side of the field. But like I was saying, yeah, that decisiveness is huge. And Didi's time comes to an end, and I don't think we're going to look fondly upon the Didi Gregorius era. We won't go on this too long, but I definitely consider that a failure on Dombrowski's part. It was kind of a panic move, and he wasn't afraid to wipe his hands with it and cut it loose early. It's nice to see.
No, it is. I feel like in past years, front office, like the Clentak era, we would have just held on to him and watched him every single night until his contract runs out, which it's just not you're right. Like you're saying, it's not a decisive way to run a ball club. And if you see something wrong, you got to make the change immediately, especially when you're trying to win. You can't let stuff like that linger.
That was Thursday. You and I were at the Blue Claws watching single A team. And we had some thunder that day, metaphorically and literally. Yeah, we had Thor on the hill against the absolutely terrible Nats lineup, and he gave up 11 hits in a complete game, 5-inning shutout. Or not shutout. I mean, I guess what was it, 4 runs or something? It wasn't the best start. Moral of the story, he was getting hit around by the lowly Nats. Not a good start. How much stock should we put into this one start? And do you feel any different about the trade now after watching him in person like that, watching him on the Phillies broadcast?
I think when we were talking about the deadline moves, I was pretty didn't feel like we gave up too much, but I still don't feel like we got the best player we could have. I still feel that way. I don't really think Syndergaard is going to have a major impact, like as like a 3-star or anything like that. I think he's going to slide into like that 5th role. And I was hoping he'd just be a good inning eater, but it seems like he kind of throws a lot of pitches, and he doesn't have an out pitch. He really doesn't have one pitch he can go to get guys out like he used to be able to. Which I know I'm tired of everyone on the radio saying, "Oh, he's not what he used to be." He knows that. We know that. He had surgery. He rehabbed. He's lucky to be back playing baseball. But yeah, you just wonder how if he can't match up that well against a team like the Nationals, how things are going to be when he goes to his old team, the Mets. We want him to be effective. We don't want to get him. Well, we don't want him getting rocked.
I hate to put you on the spot like this. Do you know what his injury was? His big injury these past couple of years.
I thought it was his elbow.
Did he?
I don't know
He didn't
what.
have. Did he have Tommy John?
I thought so.
If he did, I feel like that's just not something that happens. I feel like when people come back from Tommy John, they can regain their velocity for the most part. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean Wheeler had Tommy John. A lot of big time Verlander, a lot of big time arms have Tommy John and get their strength back, and it's kind of weird that his never came back. It's
Yeah,
you
I
have
just
to
looked it up. He got it in 2020, Tommy John surgery.
yeah. Where's the velocity? It doesn't make any sense.
I wonder if that's something he's still trying to regain or something he's kind of accepted.
It might just be diminishing skills, which that really stinks. But yeah, if he's coming back from Tommy John, I would have expected to see him this year throwing 97, 98. That's clearly not happening, and I think there's a couple big takeaways from this. I think he's kind of at the point now. He's a guy with very diminished stuff. I don't think he really knows how to use it yet. Um, he still works in the zone a lot, towards the middle of the zone. Leads itself to a lot of contact. A couple of years ago, that fastball would have a lot more life on it, and you'd see a lot of swings and misses, batters laid on it. I don't think that he's been able to really adjust to this yet, and I think that it's going to lend itself to blow ups every once in a while. It stinks to see it against the Nats. I mean, if it was any team but the Nats, I'd feel a little better about it. But that's just, I mean, you're looking at a team 2 nights later. I mean, Kyle Gibson had a perfect game into the 7th. I know you were there, right?
Yeah, I got to. Yeah, he was going into the 7th. 1 out with the 7th. He had a perfect game.
Kyle Gibson does not have very good stuff. Are we in agreement on that?
No, yeah, we should be comparing Kyle Gibson and Noah Syndergaard's stuff because it's not that far apart. They both are heavy sinker pitchers now. Both of them are around that 93, 94 mark.
Yeah. And you look at the results here, they both went against the same lineup, and it can mean just one thing, and that means that Gibson has been working with this stuff for a long time, and he knows how to use it. Thor, power pitcher his whole life, first season without it, and he doesn't have any idea how to use this diminished stuff, and it's a problem. And like you said, it's going to be a big problem against these really good lineups. The Braves, the Mets. A lot of good hitting teams in the National League. The Dodgers, Padres, all these teams that we could face in the playoffs. A lot of good lineups, and it doesn't make me feel good after seeing that start where I think his whip was like 3 or something. That's just not. I innately don't even like watching pitchers like that. I like low whip pitchers like the Aaron Knowles of the world. Work fast, work down in the zone, and don't walk people. And it's gonna be a struggle watching Thor, and I just don't think he's gonna really capture. I think he's gonna be our 5 starter at the end of the day. I feel a little better about Gibson going out there, and I was not expecting to say that.
Yeah, that it is kind of sad to have to admit that this guy that we just traded for, Mickey Moniak, a guy we all like, is probably not going to be more than a 5 starter. But he also, like everyone's been saying, he hasn't had a lot of time with this team. Once he gets in a routine, things could change. He pitches tonight against the Marlins. That could be interesting. So we'll see how that goes. How about Brandon Marsh? How are you feeling about what you've seen from him on the field?
So did you hear the story about how he got to Philadelphia and he went to Kevin Long and he was pretty much like, fix me?
No, I actually did not hear that story.
Yeah, so the first person he went to see when he got to Philadelphia was Kevin Long, um, and he wants to be better more than anybody else. And I think after watching him, he's going to be an awesome center fielder. He runs just about everything down, strong arm, just an awesome quick step off the bat. He takes very good routes to the ball. Everything we could hope for in center field. The bat's going to be a work in progress. I don't think we can really expect too much from him this year with the bat. But this offseason, you give him a full offseason with Kevin Long, full offseason to kind of rebuild that swing and patch up the holes that he has. I think we might have. I should have had a comp off the top of my head. I think we could have an average hitter with an absolutely amazing glove, and that's a useful player. That's a 3-4 win player for 5+ years. I like everything I've seen so far. What about you?
Yeah, no, kind of piggybacking off what you're saying, I think it's really important to have like a guy with like that sort of like defensive value, while like all the guys surrounding him create most of their war from offense. So it really is kind of nice to see him contributing in a different way than a lot of other guys. But I love him so far. I think everything about him like just screams that he's going to be a better player. I think you can just tell the way he plays. He plays hard. He cares. He's passionate. I think the city will love him. Like I really like the comparison to Aaron Rowand. I thought
Did
that
hear
was a
that?
really good one because Aaron Rowand, like, not the best bat. Like, we can all admit that. But that guy played about as hard as he can. And if he ends up being a player like that, that's important to any contender. He seems got the heart.
Awesome complimentary piece, like you said. He fits with this team really well. A little bit of a side street here. I think it's super funny how Dombrowski built this whole team based off of offense. He's like, oh, we don't need fielding. We're just going to get a bunch of bats. And then he gets to the deadline and he goes, we need fielding. And he goes out and gets a bunch of defenders. That's good, though. I like the learning from the mistakes. And he saw our defense. And he said, this is definitely an area we can improve. And we went out and got a bunch of defenders. I like it. Accept your failure, and just learn from it. And that's kind of what he's doing here. It's refreshing again.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of just like a cherry on top that both Marsh and Sosa are like excellent base runners. So like if like Sosa will probably be the one not starting, he is just like the best late game replacement you could possibly have. He's 98 percentile speed, phenomenal glove. You can play basically anywhere in the infield. That trade's looking better and better every day.
No, I like it. Yeah, no, I definitely like that. What else do we have? Sosa, Marsh, Thor. Who's the
Robertson.
fourth one? Robertson seems to be getting the closing opportunities. Do you think that's something that's going to continue as the season goes on? Thompson going to him?
I don't see why he shouldn't. He's his stuff is back. I mean, he's got the good stuff. I think any mix of him and Sir Anthony, I think they're both probably the best stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Robertson and Sir Anthony are probably the nastiest relievers we have.
Alvarado?
Yeah, that cutter is pretty wipeout these days, but
Bilotti?
Bellotti is pretty
Bilotti's
nasty too.
filthy.
Where did that guy come from?
Dude, I have no idea, but he's like seventh in the league in terms of relievers Ks per nine. He's absolutely filthy. Yeah, no, he's crazy. Um, bullpen. I started the episode off with saying like I feel better. The bullpen gets a ton of credit for that. This bullpen's good, and since Thompson took over specifically, it's been really good. I don't know if that's a testament to how he's been managing the bullpen. He does seem to be pulling a lot of the right switches. That's one of the situations where what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Like the manager putting him in the right position or the guy doing good. Like, I don't really know the reason for the bullpen doing super good. Besides the fact that we have a lot of stuff guys this year. A lot of guys we can put in and mix and match. And it's a weapon that you see very commonly in the playoffs now. The Rays come to mind in their 2020 run. Pete Fairbanks, all these big names coming out of the bullpen, mixing and matching, tons of guys closing out games. I think that we might be trying to model this bullpen after that, and it's worked so far, and I feel good about it. There's no doubt in my mind that this bullpen's legit.
Yeah, we have like a good 4 or 5 options. There's like 4 guys I'd probably feel comfortable with it in the 9th inning.
Oh, in the 9th inning. Yeah, I thought you were going to say in general. There's not a name in the bullpen I don't feel comfortable with right now.
Yeah, not right now. No, it's crazy to say that. I never thought as a Philly fan I would be saying this, but I am comfortable with every man in the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen. That sounds good.
We've come a long way. But that's the bullpen, and a couple more takeaways. I think I owe JT Realmuto an apology.
You do.
I think we all probably do, because don't lie. You were doubting the skill set, and you thought the best days of JT were behind him. Don't lie. Tell me you were thinking that.
Yeah, I thought his skills were dwindling. I didn't think he was the best catcher in baseball anymore. I didn't think he was top 5. I'll admit to all that. Yeah, no, I definitely thought he was a fraction of what he was in the past years, but he's proved he still has something in the tank.
I'd say he might be reclaiming that best catcher in baseball throne, which I thought was out of reach for him, especially with a lot of the younger guys. It's weird seeing a player turn around their season like he has. The power's back. He had an absolute moonshot yesterday, and that's not something that you mentioned JT Realmuto with. He's kind of the line drive guy, but this was a towering shot that he hit yesterday, and all over the field too. I think a lot of this. I don't want to take anything away from JT, but Kevin Long seems to be doing a really good job with this offense. JT Realmuto fixed his swing. Alec Boehm has stepped up to become probably the best hitter in this lineup. Yeah, I'm saying that right now. I think he's the best pure hitter in the lineup. Schwarber is going to lead the NL in home runs, and Rhys Hoskins, consistent. He's put away those 0 for 34 streaks, and he's suddenly this super consistent workhorse that we throw out there every single day. And, he gives competitive bats every night. It's the strangest thing in the world. And, I mean, just to throw on more names, Stott's hitting the ball super hard, finally above the 200 mark. Castellanos coming around. Power starting to kind of peek through the windows. Starting to see a little of it. Deerling. Just go down the whole list. And everybody seems to be figuring out what works best for them. Do you think that Kevin Long's input on these players is that big, and that's the reason that we're kind of seeing all of this?
I do. I don't want to take too much away from the players. They have to implement these things, but I think they've heard a lot of different voices over the years from hitting coaches coming up in the minors, some of the younger guys, and that short trip with Joe Dillon we had last year. But I think Kevin Long is making that difference. I think a lot of us forget that about how we had the lockout and how new coaches weren't allowed to interact with players yet. So Kevin Long really wasn't able to interact with any of the players until they got to spring training. So it kind of, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense why the Phillies didn't start too hot.
You're right. I didn't think about that. But you can definitely see the building going on here. He's building something. He's building a profile within each of these players that leads itself to considerable improvement just every day. I feel like everybody's getting better right now. And it's just, it's marginal improvements that are adding up to just completely different players. Alec Boehm, I don't want to go too into the coaching right now, but I think this might be the strongest staff, top to bottom, that we've had in a really long time because Kevin Long, we talked about Kevin Long, Caleb Cawthon. I mean, we don't talk about the pitching as much because it's just like Nola, Wheeler, Ranger. They're doing what they're supposed to. They're very, very consistent. Um, top to bottom, the bullpen seems to be making huge improvements, and our defense. No one is talking about our defense. It might actually be good. It might be a good defense, especially now. We got a legit center fielder, and all across the diamond, you're seeing people improve. And I was going to start it off with Alec Bohm, but I'll highlight him. The defense is a lot better. I don't know what else there's to say, but it's just something I've noticed. The range Alec Bohm and some of the plays he's making, he never would have made 3 months ago, and it's a credit to our infield coach.
He's new, Bobby Dickerson.
Top to bottom, coaching staff has been on point this year.
Yeah, because I remember when Bobby Dickerson came in, and I remember reading something in spring training, and they're like, obviously, like everyone's first question to him is like, "Can you fix Alec Bohm?" Like that's the obvious question, and he's like, "Me and that kid have been out like there, like just like one-on-one, like going at it, like he's might." And I remember him saying like he wasn't there yet, but he wants to get there, and now we get to see Alec Bohm kind of find his growth and become a great baseball player on both sides of the ball. It's really just incredible to watch. But on that topic of defense and improved fundamentals, did you hear Keith Hernandez's comment that's kind of shocked the Philly Nation a little bit?
Yes, I heard it. No comment right now.
No comment.
I don't even know what to say to that. It's not what I want to hear right now. He's kind of dampening my defense and my whole rant right here. It's kind of starting to undermine it. But yeah, it was a dumb comment. How do you feel about it?
I think he was just trolling.
I think those Mets fans and everybody associated with the Mets get a little too confident.
I second that. I've
heard a little too much from Mets fans.
I think a lot of us Philly fans have forgot who is our true rival, because I hear people saying, "Oh no, like the Mets fans not that bad. It's the Braves fans." Like no. If you're a Phillies fan, you should know our rival is the New York Mets and no one else. Braves second to that. No way.
You have to know the history, and you have to know the whole 07 story. Jimmy Rollins declaring that the division was ours and the Phillies overtaking the Mets that year. That's where it was born and bred. I mean, it's much older than that, but that's where it was born and bred to me, and I'm sure to you too, because we're the younger generation here. But yeah, the Mets are that team that I would least like to see succeed, more so than the Braves. That's another thing. My friends get on me about this, but something about the Braves has never bothered me. Apparently, on social media, Phillies fans and Braves fans kind of go at it, but just looking at that team, like the team's never really bothered me because Freddie was there for a while. I have like the utmost respect for Freddie, and you look around the diamond right now. Matt Olson is like a good dude, like Dansby Swanson and Max Fried. I'm a big Max Fried fan. It's just never been like a very annoying team. But I mean, if you get me started on Pete Alonso, it's over.
Yeah, get me started on Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo. But yeah, we had to clear the air there because I don't understand how people are starting to think the Braves are our biggest rival. It's never been that way.
No, it's the Mets wholeheartedly, and I personally am rooting for those Braves. It's getting a little less likely now, but I would probably root for the Braves to take the division over the Mets. That's something I'd like to see. It's out of reach for us. We're as hot as anybody right now, but we're still 9 games back, so it's probably out of reach for us. But if the Braves could take that, I would gladly accept that as a Phillies fan.
Yeah, I don't know how it would affect like our matchups as like a wild card team, but
Yeah, you should.
I still think I'd rather play the Braves in a wild card than play DeGrom in a one
Yeah,
game.
no, yeah, you're right about that. They line up better. I mean, even though Max Fried's having like an insane season, he's turned out to be a really really good pitcher. The way the wild card works now is um, the third division clincher and the first wild card, they get home field advantage in that first round against the second and third wild card. So we're probably, unless we can somehow catch one of those NL East teams, the Braves are 3 games ahead of us. So it's not impossible. Um, if we catch them, we overtake them, we get a home playoff game, which would be very nice. I really would like to see that, obviously.
Yes.
But if not, and we stay in the position we're in, that second wild card seed, we're going to play the first wild card seed, which is probably going to be the Braves. Is that your understanding of how that works?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy that we're saying that that first wild card's even in play now. It's we're kind of starting to separate ourselves a little bit from the lower tier wild card teams. Padres are free falling. Cardinals, Brewers, they're just mucking it up in the NL Central. Um, yeah, only one of those teams going to get in. I'm fairly certain of that. So it's kind of us against those.
The competition is getting thin, very very thin. The Giants are completely out of it basically, which is good for us. But I mean, it's really our time to like shine, to rise.
Yeah, I know. We're both trying to be careful with what we say here.
I know. I don't want to
Yeah,
jinx anything. I'm
yeah.
very
We're
superstitious.
both trying to be careful here, but yeah, the Padres, Cardinals, and Brewers. Brewers, I mean, they stole the soul of that team. Like it's essentially like us trading like our best player, Brandon Hader, or not Brandon Hader, Josh Hader, arguably their best player in a vacuum, and they just traded him. So they kind of ripped the soul out of that team. Padres, ever since they declared that pitchers should be scared of them, Juan Soto's quote, pitchers should be scared of that lineup. They're batting like 120, and they've lost like 5 of 6. So yeah,
Yeah, but
it's gonna get messy here. It's gonna be a messy race for these last several weeks.
yeah, that just shows how important we have. Next 2 weeks, we have 6 games against the Metis. We need to play good ball. We can't. It's not time to have a cold streak after all this winning. It's time to keep it moving.
Yeah, I'll be there Sunday. Hopefully, watching us take the series on Sunday. But I mean, I so we have 6 against the Mets. I'd imagine the 3 after this Mets series in Citi Field this week are at home.
Yes, they are later in
Yeah,
August, right?
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have to sweep the Mets. We're not targeting the Mets in the division at this point. We kind of just need to, right? We probably just need to split. I'd be happy if we split.
I want to win.
Yeah. Problem is, we're going to run into DeGrom on Saturday. Is Scherzer Sunday or Scherzer Friday?
Scherzer is right after it goes. I think it goes Scherzer, DeGrom, and then Chris Bassett, and then we'll have Ranger, Nola, and then Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, I like how it lines up for us.
Yeah,
I know.
DeGrom Nola is going to be an all-time game.
Yeah, it's a shame Wheeler couldn't fall on Scherzer Day. That would have been cool too. But no, I feel good about what we're rolling out there this weekend. Mets fans should feel good about what they're rolling out there this weekend, and this is the time to show the guts that we were proclaiming earlier this episode. It's time. Show that this team is deeper and different than it's been in the past, and go win a road series against probably the best team in the NL, if not the best, the second best.
No, you're certainly right. Now it's time to make a statement against the Mets if we want to be in that, because everyone's proclaiming that we're in that tier now, and we have beaten a lot of the very good teams. We took care of the Brewers, Dodgers, Cardinals, basically all of them, just not really the Mets or the Braves. We have not taken care of either of those yet, and we're likely to see one of them in the playoffs. So get it done.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And depending on how things line up, I mean, if you win the first wild card series where we're at currently, next series is in New York. That's how that would work. We could possibly face the Braves and then the Mets, which is just crazy how that works out. But yeah, no, it has to really come together this weekend, and we need to play good. That's kind of just where that is.
Well said.
Anything else you want to hit? I want to watch this Phillies game I got to my left here. Sandy versus Thor.
An all-time pitchers duel.
I'm hoping I see something out of Thor to make me feel a little better about it.
Yeah, I think you speak for all of us when we just need to see something slightly better than just eat innings, man. That's all we're asking for.
Couple last topics. Gene's back. Seems to be just picking up right where he left, so that's awesome. Nicky Maton back. I thought that was interesting, sending Munoz down, calling Maton up. That might just be for giving Segura some days off, as he gets back into it. Maton's, the logical person to play those games, being that he's a lefty and that's his primary position. So I think that's kind of why we went that way. But I'm also kind of excited to see Maton again. He was playing pretty good before he went down with that injury. And he's just one of the most interesting players on this roster because no one knows anything about him. And every time he comes up here, he plays well. It's very weird.
No, that's true. He was never really like a highly touted prospect in our system. He was kind of like one of those guys like Luke Williams that kind of just shot up. You're like, wait, who is this guy again? And but like the way he plays, like I remember we were at the game when he got injured. I remember we were just talking about how like he plays with like this flair, kind of reminded me of like Utley at second. See, because he was throwing his body all over the place that game and hitting everything. I think he just brings a whole different energy. He's got like a very unique energy, and it seems to be good on the bench.
Yeah, he's got something that a lot of players don't. I can't put a word on it right now, but there's something he brings to this team that it's very beneficial. So he's back. The news on Bryce has not been super good.
No.
Pins weren't able to take out the original week that he thought they would. They had to push that back. And from my understanding, things are not going too well in terms of rebuilding the muscles and the strength in the hand. Are you nervous about that?
Yes. A little bit, just because I was on, obviously, I wanted him to get back as soon as possible. But, it seems like this rehabbing is moving a little bit slower. They decided to back off the throwing, which is probably wise because we need him for his bat right now. But, yeah, they said a little bit soreness in that hand with like when he's gripping the bat. So, I guess it'll just probably take an extra week or two to regain some strength. You can't rush stuff like that. Need him back at 100%.
Are you still fairly confident we'll see him again this season?
Yeah, I still think we'll see him. Now I'd probably say first week of September.
All right. I guess we can take that. But, we're getting right around our 40-minute mark we aim for. Anything else?
That sums it up for me.
Awesome. Like always, thank you guys for listening. Give us that follow on YouTube. We're trying to get a little more active on the social medias. Throw us a follow there too. And like I said last time, reach out to us. Let us know what you guys like, what you don't like. We're just trying to bring the best content we can to you guys. And with that being said, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Thanks for supporting, guys. Go Phils.